artist hat is like,
insanely
this
hard.
is so like, this is so dope. And
No,
like,
literally, you have to be a hippie on one side.
Yeah,
And
I
you
was about to
have
say,
to be
exactly what he was.
Yeah, like, man, this is like the greatest things ever come out, man. This is very
love, earth,
yeah,
God.
Earth.
This is
And
like
then your other
new
side's
age.
like-
This is like new age Jimi Hendrix, bro. It's kind of.
Y'all remember that app, Dub Smash?
No.
Why does that sound familiar? Wait, Dub Smash was that music or no? It wasn't
Musically.
No, that was
I remember
musically.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is now
I never
TikTok.
had it.
Dub Smash is Dub Smash is like you can do from like TV shows, movies. Like it'll give you like the audio, like the quotes or
Oh, I
something, and you
remember
can
that
record
now.
yourself.
Yeah, saying the
You know,
words. Yeah.
kind of like
yes,
TikTok, I guess.
yes,
but
yes,
that's
yes,
what my
yes,
dad.
yes,
My
yes,
dad
yes.
has hundreds of those. Like,
Of those
he'll-
videos?
He'll randomly send them to our group.
Carla and I did a couple. Yeah, we did like Step Brothers. I remember.
did The
Yeah,
Simpsons.
yeah.
No, not
Yeah.
not those kind of videos, Tim. We're talking about.
Whoa,
hold on, wait. We're on the same page.
Step
here?
bro, step. Whoa, chill.
Daddy, chill.
Oh yeah, right. Oh, dang, that's
man.
crazy. No, yeah, I remember Dub Smash, but yeah, now it's all about TikTok. And
Yeah. So if my dad ever gets on that, it's like, well, he'd probably take off. To be honest, he's
Yeah.
a pretty funny guy. Yeah, he'll probably take
Yeah.
off.
yeah, see, that's the thing. If you're funny, you can get away with a lot, and you can actually like make something out of make something out of yourself.
Yeah.
So,
You can get famous for anything nowadays, huh?
You can really get famous for anything nowadays.
Man.
Yeah. But it's like a guy or a quote that I heard. This guy was saying, like, I'm glad that I didn't randomly blow up off of one thing because then I don't know how I would take it or I don't know what I would do with it. Like, you know what I mean? It's like I'm glad that I had to wait and I had to build something because now I appreciate it more. Because sometimes like you get famous right off of one little thing and it's like, okay, cool, but you don't like really appreciate the moment.
Yeah.
And you don't appreciate like what it took to get there, and then you don't understand the algorithm of how you got there. And I think that's the most important thing. Like, well, why did this get me famous, or why did this get big?
I think we talked about it's kind of like if it was overnight success, it can just go away.
It goes
that quick.
Yeah.
That actually scares me more, the overnight success than growing and stuff, and especially like music and being an artist and stuff too. It's like
No, that's the worst thing ever. Like when you like, let's say like 24K Golden, that guy, the song "Why You Always in a Mood."
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you can't name another single that he has.
really
He's
can't.
released 2 albums since.
No, really?
Yeah, I'm a fan of him. I like his music.
2
but
albums.
He's had 2 albums out, and there's just not another single.
Really?
Yeah, he's just kind of
That sucks.
invisible now.
Yeah.
you know?
I saw him on
It creates
podcast, or I
that.
saw him on. He was on Impulsive. He was on a podcast, and they were talking a little bit, and then he was explaining like how that song came to be. But yeah, you're right.
Yeah, that's like, I mean, that's why I like his counterpart is the person he was in that song with, his who co-wrote it, Ian Dior.
Oh yeah, Ian
He's
Dior.
been a guy that's been doing it for 5 to 7 years now.
Gotcha.
And he's been doing that slow growth, and now he's like a recognized artist. Like, you know, like he's like relevant in the space, and he's consistently putting numbers and being
up.
good and getting better with each release. But this guy's like, you know, he blew up and then he's gone. So,
Dang, that's insane.
yeah,
I would hate that, honestly. I've had those anxieties though. I've had that before. Yeah, for sure. Like I remember when I produced one track, and it did extremely well, and it got picked up on a major playlist, and like that's what kind of skyrocketed my career. And I'm like, well, is this it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm terrified right now, dude. That's the position I'm in right now. Like, I'm coming off my biggest song yet, 500,000 views, like over 1 million streams. It's like, I'm like, I don't know what the heck is gonna happen after this. Like, you know,
Yeah, that's got to be.
like I don't know how people are gonna react to it. I don't know if I waited too long.
Well, explain that. Like for some people. By the way, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the TIMS Bros podcast, #1 trending podcast in the world. Check the stats as a fact,
Or don't.
I missed the cue. I didn't.
Yeah, no, I know you missed the or don't.
Or don't.
Honestly, but yeah, explain that like kind of anxiety of like releasing music, because I think a lot of people, for the non-music people, they don't really understand what it takes to make music. They like, you know, people are like, oh, so you're a DJ. So you just like DJ the stuff, and then they like come in and they do one take, and then the music goes out. That's most people's like that's their thought of like how music's made, right? They see the behind the scenes. They're like, oh yeah, they go in the studio. That's it.
It's definitely not the studio part. That's 10 to 20% of it.
Yeah.
Honestly, 80% of it is that anxiety where you're living in like, is this gonna work or not? And you're trying your hardest to create, the marketing tactics or planning ahead, trying to. Be ahead of schedule with videos and pictures and just it's all about content now. And I like it, honestly. At first I was like, man, I wish I could just release art and release a song and just let it and have it blow up, whatever. That's not gonna happen, let's be real. But the cool thing is that we can make art through that marketing. We can make a world for the song to live in. So that's the interesting part. That's what I like doing. Instead of just kind of letting a song die, I kind of create this vibe through all the marketing, through the photos, through the video. There's always that message. And
you're doing all of your own stuff too. Like you're editing the videos, you're doing the artwork, you're writing your songs.
Yeah, I'm very hands-on when it comes to that, to the visual creation of everything, because that's honestly my first passion. Before music, that's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be a movie director. So I just, especially with this next upcoming song, that has been my main focus, what is visually around it, because I came to realize, hey, people care about that, and I want to give the people a single that doesn't just last a month, a single that people can really listen to it for a very long time, just like the songs that we used to listen to as kids that last forever.
Oh yeah, or they still last, like and they're like, it's like nostalgia. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. But that's cool though. I mean, you've been working on some new music and whatnot. So the last time he was here, that was episode
4.
Was it 4 or 3?
Yeah, 4.
Yeah, he just confirmed 4.
Yeah, it was 4.
I can fact check this right now, Tim. You know what I'm saying?
What up?
We're all about facts here, okay? We'll fact check it real quick. So it was episode 4.
Episode 4. And we are on what? This is 29.
No, this would come out a little bit later.
Yeah,
this would come out a little later because
be
we're definitely gonna be we're gonna be promoting his new single and then obviously some other stuff that he's got going on. Yeah. But so this will be like in the 30s. So we went from 4 to like 30s, and that's a span of like what? It's been almost a year.
We were talking about it. So we're coming on to 8 months now.
8 months.
Wow. Dude.
So his episode was what, like 7-8 months ago?
Yeah,
something like that.
That's insane.
We're getting close to a year.
Yeah. So what's happened? Just for people that are watching, what's happened since?
Yeah. So since the last podcast, I think I was here talking about the remix of Quiero Verte.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I was talking about that song. It hadn't even released yet, I think.
No.
I don't think so.
No, it hadn't yet.
But we were getting ready to release that song, and yeah, that song,
which popped off, by the way.
Yeah,
that song blew up.
Man, that song.
Yeah, that song did a lot of numbers, and it reached to a lot of people. I've received nothing but positive feedback from people, and people have been expecting what's next, what's coming up, and here we are 8 months later.
Yeah, So what are you kind of going back to our original conversation? What have you done from the point of, once again, something having success, something that does well, and what are you doing with that versus just being like, all right, well, that was it, guys, high five.
No, well, when that came in, it was like a sigh of relief for a second, taking it all in and seeing like, oh wow, we made it. We made it. We made a hit. We made a good song. And then after that, it's like, okay, now the anxiety comes in because it's like, what are we gonna do next? I think that's
tough.
The 8 months have been just preparation, finding the right team, not only on the business side, but also, preparation spiritually as well. Cause we're trying to we're trying to make life-changing music. So it's hard to just kind of depend on, your what you knew in the past. You gotta grow,
Right. Yeah.
And I feel like that's what the song is about. And it's kind of explaining what's been going on since the release of that song, how that affected in the decisions that I'm taking and I have to take. It's a really personal track. Yeah. It's a really personal track.
Yeah. You're talking about the next single,
the
right?
New single
yeah. So
up.
new single drops
Yeah, March 18th.
March 18th.
Yes, sir.
So make sure you guys are watching and make sure you guys are tuned in. March 18th. So you got March 18th, new single. It's going to drop. Are you leaking the name right now or not?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's called Todo Por Ti.
Todo Por Ti.
Another Spanish track.
Yes, sir.
And I say another Spanish track because there might be some English music on the way as well.
Yeah.
But I'm really focused on my roots. Spanish track. This is a song about the beginning of the music career and kind of my testimony apart from the music, but talks a lot about family. Talks about just my life experiences and my relationship with God.
Yeah. It's a really cool track. This is the track that we did a while ago. We did that a good while ago.
Yeah.
This is the one. I don't know if we talked about it on the last podcast or not, but we came in the studio. There was typical like studio session, just kind of like writing session. Like, hey, let's just vibe it out. Most people would just say, hey, this is what I want. Make the music, and then I'll write the song, and then let's piece it together. Best idea wins, whatever. Yeah. But his session was a little bit different. It was like, okay, we're gonna create it together in the studio. He's like, yo, I got a radio interview that was for the Quiero Verte remix. Yeah. And so he goes out to my kitchen and he's doing this interview. And I just start cooking up the instrumental and just start, piecing things together and whatnot. And I finally had something. So he comes in, he sits down and then just starts writing. And not even an hour later, the song is done. And it's like this story. And what I liked about it is that it's a very like, it's an urban track and it's very pop, it's cool and whatnot, but the lyrics are actually very it's very storytelling. Yeah, it's very, very storytelling.
That's why when we talk about the visuals, that's why I've been saying it's so important, because it's a very storytelling music song. Yeah, and the video kind of has to match that. Yeah, it has to match that.
So y'all shot the video?
Yeah, we just finished shooting the video about 3-4 days ago. And nice. We're in the editing process and trying to turn it in on time so that on the day of release it comes out with the song. Yeah. But yeah.
With your team, with whatever that means to you, like how much say-so, if I want to word it right, like input do they give and how much do you take of that? Because I notice nowadays a lot of people want to do everything by themselves. I'm talking from the producing to the writing to the mixing, mastering, and they're very like, not wanting to be open with people.
Yeah, I definitely believe in collaboration. Yeah. I believe that we should all be involved in the creative process, as long as you have people you trust. But I'm also very jealous, and I'm the type of person that's like, man, I want to have my voice in this. I want to have the essence of me in the production or in the writing, because that's always important as an artist. And I know a lot of people feel the same way, but you do have to let go and kind of meet in the middle with people.
Because I see a lot of like, and I was in this early on with my mixing self, is like you feel there's like a sense of a lack of support. But what I'm seeing too is now is like, man, well, I wasn't really open to wanting to collab or wanting to learn or wanting to have someone come into the, because I get it is tough. You I'm pretty sure you've had a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. When I first started out, I was just like that. I was like, it's the world against me. Exactly. The industry's against me. Like these top artists, they don't want to see me win. Like,
nobody wants to see me win.
And then I actually got to know them, and it's like, bro, they like, come on in, let's do this. And it's like, no, I just had the wrong mentality the whole time. I was just, victimizing myself and just feeling bad for myself, like, man, let's get out there, let's put some good content out, and let's get better each time. And that's all it takes, honestly.
Because I mean, I think it's okay to have a little bit of the victimize of like, hey, like no one's gonna do it for you. They're not gonna sit here and do it for you. I gotta do it for myself. But then again, like, I gotta be open to working with other people, man.
Exactly.
Yeah, that was my thing. Yeah, lack of support is like, no, it's I was just. It's just.
I mean, you do have a lot of people though. That they don't want to see you win. There are those people. I mean, that's the scary thing, is that there is that, but you'd be surprised how many people are actually willing to collaborate, or you have to kind of initiate the conversation. Like I know with me, most of the people that I'm like really good friends with, I did not like when I first met them. I'm like, this guy's kind of, but you got to kind of open yourself up to the idea of being friends with them. And then you open yourself up and then it's like, oh, wow. Yeah. This is actually a special friendship because it's the same thing with collaborating. It's like, sometimes you're like, I don't know if I want to, I don't know. Right. And then you do it and you're like, wow, we actually did something really special together. Yeah. And I think a lot of people haven't experienced that because there is a little bit of anxiety or a little bit of whatever it is, jealousy, whatever. And people are just like, I don't know if I want to work with that guy. And then you're doing that and they're doing that. And you could actually come up with something that's a quiero verte. Well, you know what I mean? And it's like, you never would have known if you wouldn't have done that. And then once again, I don't know if it's a cultural thing either. I don't know. Hispanics are interesting. Maybe. I was just watching a podcast, actually. It's funny enough. There was this girl and George Lopez. And George Lopez is like, it's kind of like damned if you are, damned if you aren't, type of thing in our culture where it's like, yo, you're becoming a doctor or something like that. And they're like, oh, look, see, he thinks he's all big and bad because he wants to be a doctor now and like blah, blah. And then if you like, say fail school, they're like, oh, that sucks, bro.
Yeah, he's
like,
terrible.
Yeah. Like, oh, man, see, he wasn't that smart. Like, see, freaking dummy. Couldn't even make it. But it's true. It's like, I feel like that is kind of a cultural thing too, where it's like, you kind of like to see people fail, and not succeed, and it's hard to watch other people succeed. Yeah, that is. No,
there's definitely a cultural thing, and then with the enemy part, where we really make the enemies in our head. They're not actually like
we make our own demons.
It's like they're not going after us. Like we're 90% of this we're just telling ourselves like they don't like us.
We're scared of the dark for no reason.
And I think that's what creates it. Like, bro, this dude's making us enemies, so I guess we just will go with it because we started that.
Exactly,
that is true.
Yeah, and then we close those doors. And I mean, whether you have enemies or not, that shouldn't stop you in the music at all, because especially in the genre we're in the Christian world, because God is the one that opens the doors, and then all you have to do is go through them. No one can close a door that God opens.
Yeah. For real. And what are some of those doors that have been open for you, like that you've seen that you're like, dang. Like I 5 years ago, I would have never imagined this happened. Or
Heck yeah, man! I mean, I'm signed. I'm a signed artist.
I'm
with Heaven. I'm with Heaven Music, Uno Records. And that is a door that I never saw opening. Honestly, I thought I was going to be on the independent grind for years. For a while. Yeah, for years. And I didn't mind that uphill battle. I didn't at all. You know. But God just happened to connect me with the right people, the right team. Okay. First I got to you, and you helped me get to the right ears, and they heard the music, they loved it, and let's work.
Yeah, that's dope.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's always so cool, man. Seeing things like that happen, where it's like, you dream, and then finally that dream becomes a reality, and or even if you get close to the reality. Like I'm experiencing that right now, where it's like, I'm like, oh, maybe this how might happen, and you know what I mean. We might get this project, or whatever. Karla knows it, and it's like, oh, we're like so excited, and then it like doesn't happen, but another door opens up, and it's like, okay, maybe in the future this is gonna be,
heck yeah,
and you have to be able to take L's. Like honestly, like a lot of people don't know this because once again, you see the tip of the iceberg, but you don't see the climb, or you don't see what's on the bottom of the iceberg or whatever, or the mountain, or whatever analogy you want to freaking use, right? And it's like, I've taken some L's actually this year. Because there's more at stake. I feel like.
The Cowboys took a lot of
it. So did Green Bay. Man, sucks to get a bye and lose, right? And you don't know if Aaron Rodgers is coming back or not.
Hey, he is. Yeah.
Right. So they say.
I don't know football.
Yeah. But for instance, like I took some major L's because obviously I'm taking bigger leaps this year. I feel like, but it's funny because Karla would tell me, she's like, but look at where this got us here, and I'm like, oh shoot, you're right. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
dude, I get excited for even those maybes.
Yes,
those opportunities of maybes, and they don't even happen. Yeah. And it's like, okay, but I was just on a call with them, so whether or not it does happen, like
you're connected.
They know of me.
You're
they know I exist. Exactly.
And that's where I'm at, and that's what we went through. And luckily, like I can say, like Karla, like it's amazing that she's like, she is my best friend. Like I'm able to go with her and be able to kind of be vulnerable, because I don't like being vulnerable, but be like, oh, dang, this didn't happen. Like, Bob, she's like, it's okay. Like, look, you got this, and this, and then then yeah, it's the whole God opening doors. Because just right before this podcast, you know, there's like 4 people hit me up that because of this one outlet. And I'm like, dang, you see that? So I could have either, and my grandpa used to say this, my dad used to say this, it's better to have dripping water that's constant than having just one waterfall happen and it never happens again.
Right.
And I'm like, dang, that's good. Like, that's actually really good advice. Like, I'd rather have a drip of water for eternity, you know what I mean? And because that stuff collects, you know what I mean? And so it's the same thing with artistry where it's like, maybe sometimes, you know, you put out singles and you're like, man, no one's listening. And then you have, boom, one single.
The L's are there. I mean, now, because when you step into the public eye like I did with Quiero Verte, it was like, everybody's like, oh, wow, like a overnight success. Oh, wow.
Because that was your second or third single?
That was my second single.
Dang.
Man.
Yeah. So everyone's
that
like,
doesn't
oh,
happen, though.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen for a lot of people, which is crazy.
No, and it doesn't. But at the same time, they don't know the years that where my L's took place. Because I wasn't in the public eye.
Well, you were doing a lot of covers too, right? Like
exactly.
Beforehand?
Yeah, it was a lot of L's in those covers. You know, it was like a lot of petty numbers, a lot of small videos, you know, and it was just about being consistent for 3-4 years, learning the craft really well, and then putting good stuff out finally after building the proper team.
So is there a collection or an album coming out after the single?
Man.
I mean, I obviously know the answer, but I'm saying that for people.
Yeah, I feel.
I just don't know if you can leak it or not.
No, we're not. You know, we're just working on music.
But you like how I asked that though? That was some good acting skills. So tell me, that was my Oprah impression.
You put me in a spot. No, man. We are focused on releasing one song at a time.
Okay, cool.
We're gonna chop that real quick.
We're focused on releasing this next song, Todo por ti.
Todo por ti. Yeah, okay.
Speaking of,
because I know people are gonna ask. I mean, people are waiting. Like, are you doing more singles? Are you doing an album? Are you doing an EP? Are you doing a dual EP? Like,
man, I think that. Honestly, to tell you guys, like, Quiero Verte, like, even though it has been 8 months since I have released music, are you guys tired of Quiero Verte?
Yeah.
Like, has it
has
gone down?
No.
It hasn't. That's the thing. So I feel like I can take my time, you know, because, like, these songs are going to... I'm trying to make, like, these timeless songs that last a little longer than a month, because that's kind of the culture that's happening in the urban specifically. Everyone's putting a song... every month, you know, everyone's putting a song out every month, and I feel like people kind of need to appreciate it, let it dissect.
Because I was just talking to a record label right now, and it's funny because he had just said this. He's like, man, in between what they're putting out and a handful of other record labels, excluding independent artists, there are over 150 songs that are being put out in 1 month. So your one song is in midst of all of that, and then on top of like independent artists and stuff. But if you really think about it, I'm like, yeah, that's very true.
And the independent side is becoming so popular now.
It is.
I'm sure the numbers go up from 150 each month.
Just
in our space,
just in our little community for sure. But yeah, no, it's cool. So Todo por ti, March 18th, and you said music video will drop with the song, right?
Yeah. The music video I'm really excited for, man. There's a lot of. Since the song is really personal, we wanted to make the music video very personal as well.
Okay.
And I have a lot of cool stories about the music video. For example, one of the scenes in the music video is in an office. And that office is actually really important to me. That office, I worked in that office for almost a year before Todo por ti, before I started Quiero Verte and everything. And... I would show songs like Quiero Verte and a lot of songs to the crew there at that office, and man, they weren't very supportive at all.
Really?
No, not supportive at all. They didn't really like it.
I love that though. I love when people are like, I don't know.
Yeah, but you know, being in that space and kind of being you know, bullied and into, you know, oh, this sucks because, you know, because of your beliefs, because you're speaking out about them, this and that. You know, but yeah, the music video we actually shot in that specific office.
Dang.
Yeah, and you know that's cool. That's on purpose. You know, so when I left that job, a few months ago before shooting the video, and then I talked to the director, and he was like, "Man, I want to do like this office shot since you kind of talk about it in the song." And I was like, oh, I know one. And we ended up renting out the same
That's
office
hilarious.
where they.
My only
where they
question
harassed
is,
us.
does your mom come out in the music video? Because there's a certain lyric that you say at the very beginning.
Man, she doesn't.
Oh, man.
Or maybe she does. You should watch it.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah, that's a better answer.
We were gonna cut the podcast right there,
Right,
but
but
we'll continue now. We'll continue rolling.
Yeah. Because I know the lyric. You have your mom.
Yeah,
in the
man.
lyrics.
The song is very, very personal. The
Yeah.
stuff I talk about is 100% me. I think people are gonna appreciate it.
Yeah.
Because I want to be the type of artist or the type of person, really, the type of Christian that's just kind of crystal clear.
Yeah.
You know my intentions. You know what I'm doing. And it's just really good. It's just really good and really good music.
Yeah. Can you sing a verse or what?
No, man.
Dang! I was trying to get an exclusive right here, man.
No,
He doesn't
man,
want to
there's
do
a
it.
lot of exclusives. I just dropped
I don't
an
know,
office
man.
detail.
I don't know. I say you rap a verse.
Nah,
Rap
man.
a verse, or we're gonna wrap it up.
No, I think
This is a freaking idiot.
All right, take
You're a freaking idiot.
no,
I thought
I
it was-
really think. I mean, throw the clip up on the screen or something, man. We can.
Throw the clip. What clip?
We don't have a clip.
I was about to say. I was like, I feel like Jimmy Fallon. Like, wait, he brought a clip.
It just sounded cool.
Production just.
I could send you a clip or something.
Your production messed it up if they didn't give me a clip, man.
You can show it in post. Just
Yeah,
cut right now.
Just cut it right
Right
there.
there.
Boom. Show it there.
There's
there
a
you go,
picture
Dino.
of the music video, March 18th.
March 18th. Yeah, because this will come out the day before, either the day before or the week before. I don't know timelines.
Yeah, the week will be fine.
Yeah. So that's not too bad.
Yeah.
That's not too bad. So people will get a little taste. A little taste of the glory.
Taste of the glory.
What movie's that?
Nacho Libre.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, I'm about to-
Hey, I got put in the spot. I was like,
Yeah. He was getting hot. He was like, oh
oh,
man.
Mission Impossible. Oh.
Stupid.
Mission Impossible.
Mission Impossible. But that's cool. So yeah, that'll come out March 18th with the music video, and then possibly some more music after that.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe 8 months later.
It
I don't
depends
know.
what
8 months
depends
later?
what his label says. Depends what he says and stuff. And how's that now? Like working with a label, you have some A&Rs.
Yeah,
who
there's
you
there's immense pressure now because there's it's not just me in my room doing covers anymore.
Right.
So it's there's people behind it. There's people that believe in me, and now I kind of just don't want to let anybody down. So we're working very hard every day, and it can get tense. It could get intense. Pulling the rope your way, you want it this way, and they want it that way. But I think everything, at the end, we're always gonna agree to disagree or come together and make it work.
right. Yeah, because that's the only thing when you have multiple heads on a project, sometimes it can get a little interesting, and if that's either for the better or for the worse. But a lot of people don't know that. Once again, I mean, if a lot of independent artists don't understand it, or a lot of people who just listen to music, they don't understand what it takes to make an album, to make a single, to make an EP. And then when you have A&Rs and you have management and you have different people that
Everyone's opinion matters.
Yeah, every opinion matters.
You have to take it into account. So it's like, what if somebody just doesn't like a sound that you picked out or doesn't like a specific lyric? You got to go back to the drawing board, you know?
And we talked about that in our last episode about how hard it is to take certain criticism in the music world because it is art. You know what I mean? It's like your girlfriend. Like you do art, and then for somebody to be like, "Oh, cool drawing," but the colors are kind of like they're kind of off. You'd be like, "Yo, so do you want me to punch you in the face now, or do you want me to do it later?" Because you do take it personally. It is very hard because you have to have a business hat, but then you have to have an artist hat. And your artist hat is like, oh, this is so like, oh, this is so dope. And
no,
like,
literally, you have to be a hippie on one side.
I was about to say that's exactly what he was.
Yeah, this is like the greatest things ever come out, man. This is very
Love Earth.
Earth.
This is
And
like
then your other
new
side's
age.
like-
This is like new age Jimi Hendrix, bro.
I like that.
okay?
Talk like that for the rest of the podcast.
Man.
It's soothing.
Just like, yo, this is like new age Jimi Hendrix
Like
with
the
like
close-
Frank Sinatra, bro.
It's the closing of the eyes too that gets me. It's like,
And then
Hippie
hippie ASMR. So and then you have the opposite of that, which is then you have to talk numbers, and then you got to talk like, well, depending on what demographic, and then are you
Exactly.
marketing to a lot of people don't know that either. Is like, yo, there's a difference between Hispanics in the U.S. and the Hispanics in Central America and Latin America, or even like in the islands,
dude.
Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, and Cuba. That's why that's why here's a little education for some people. That's why when people are like, oh yeah, you Mexicans, and I'm like, well, dude, there's a lot more than just Mexicans, bro. There's you know what I mean? Like there's so many different cultures, and within those cultures, they're completely different. I could say something in Mexican style Spanish, and it's a cuss word for Honduran Spanish. But then you go to Puerto Rico, and it's like, it's kind of an in between for us. Like,
give us one right now.
No, I don't think you should.
I'll do it. I'll do it right now.
Karla was ready. She was like, "Oh, I'll tell you right now."
What's something? Or even okay. I know like chiflado. Okay, chiflado for a Mexican is like if you say, "Oh, that kid's chiflado," that means they're spoiled. But if you go to Honduras and you say, "Oh, that kid's chiflado," that they'll take it as he's crazy. And so it's same word. Gotcha. It just has two different definitions for depending on what region you're in. So it's like for me, if you say, "Oh, yeah, that kid's chiflado," you're like, "Oh, he's just really spoiled." And then in another one, you're like literally calling him crazy. Like, yo, he's schizophrenic. Right. Like, you know what I mean? Like your kid might kill somebody someday.
Yeah, very intense.
Very, yeah. And so it's the same way. So it's like with that, you have going back to it, you have labels that are like, well, this might be too edgy, or this might be too this and this or that.
I've had those conversations with like I've been learning, the difference between the U.S. Hispanics and the outside the U.S. Hispanics, and actually. I was watching this podcast. I'm not going to say the name because I don't want to give them,
this is but
I was watching Redimido on there, and he was talking about how the way like they market, the way his team markets to the Hispanics in South America is completely different. Like they go straight to the kids, so they just go to the teenagers and the kids, and they market towards them. And then most of the time they all hop on a train or they all go on one ride and they all go together to the concert. But in the U.S., you market towards the parents because they're the ones that take the kids to the concert.
Yeah, that's good.
And it's like it's a completely different focus.
It really is, man. It really is. And so that's conversations that I have with a lot of artists at the beginning. Like, well, who are you trying to market to, or who are you trying to hit? And they're like, oh, I never know. And I'm like, what? That's a label type of conversation,
which I think a lot of artists, especially I'm working with new artists right now, but they don't see that. Like I know that their dream is, I want to work with their. Do you know what it comes with though?
Yeah,
that there's going to be people that are going to tell you, hey,
those questions are so heavy, man. I mean, when me and Tim started hanging out and talking about this stuff, he started asking me those questions. He's like, hey, so what's your year plan? Like, what do you? I'm like, I'm supposed to have a plan for the year, bro. I don't even know what I'm gonna do tomorrow. That's insane.
Because that's a creative. As a creative, you don't know what you're gonna do today. You have no clue what you're gonna do tomorrow. You have no clue what you're gonna do in 5 years or how you're even gonna sound in 5 years. Because right now, even right now, like a lot of people are kind of jumping on the like what Raul Alejandro's doing with the whole pop stuff, and it's like, okay, he's not really doing like the reggaeton stuff like he was, and so let's jump on that train. And you wouldn't have thought of that 3 years ago that those style of drums and that pop style it would be 80s it would come back. Nobody knew the 80s would come back. Who knows? I mean, the 2000s will come back. The 70s might come back. The
2000s are coming back.
2000s are definitely coming back, which that gets me excited because that's definitely my era. But but that's the thing is like you never know what trends are going to happen. So as a creative, it's hard to have a plan because you're just like, I'm just trying to create the hippie, right? Like,
exactly. But you gotta. It's a little sad, but you kind of have to tell them like, hey, bro, like the adults are talking now. Yeah. We got to talk numbers now. But it makes you, at the end of the day, it makes you a better person and it makes you more complete, more whole. It you're not just some pretentious kid sitting in thinking everybody hates you because you don't know how to market.
And what do you actually, now you're saying about marketing, I think you do a great job at this, but how do you plan out your content? What do you do with your content, like on your social medias? Like you came up on my For You page on TikTok, and I was like, oh, follow, and then obviously on Instagram you're active and you're posting and you're coming up with like cool content. Like, how do you, just for people that are watching, how do you come up with that content? And how do you plan it out? And what are like some advice?
So I look at what everybody else is doing and I'm like, okay, that's amazing. I got to put my own twist on it. Right. So, and also what I was doing before. So when I first started releasing music like Anormal, Quiero Verte and stuff, and that's how most people like you discovered me through my content, which was basically just me, singing the song in my studio or the idea that it's pretty simple. Like, it's pretty stupid. Like the idea of just singing the song in the studio. Hold on, I'm lost right now.
What was I saying, dog?
What was I saying, dog? Dude, that happens all the time.
Can we just cut?
Maybe. Yeah, we might leave that because
please, because I lost my train of thought, bro.
Bro, that happens to us all the time on the show. Trust me, you're not the only one that does it.
Bro,
when Paul made it famous.
I'm going with
Paul
this,
made it famous, bro. He literally sat in that chair and he did the same thing. He's talking, and he was just like, "What was I talking about, dog?"
Yeah, bro. I just kind of stared at the computer, and I was staring at the computer. I was like,